Career Services webinar today. Karen Andrews is joining me. I'm Marilee Allred, and we'll be getting started here very quickly. We want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to stop in and check in with us this summer. We just wanted to go over a few things that is going to be happening with regards to recruiting that we felt like would be important for you to know. So we're anticipating that this will be not terribly long, but we want to leave enough time at the end for people to ask questions. So that'll be coming up soon. Okay, so the things that we're going to be talking about today, first of all, are the early interviewing program, which will be the first full week in August, and Karen will talk to you more about that. And then I'll talk about on-campus interviewing and resume collect details, in addition to just a brief refresher about Symplicity and how to apply. And then again at the end, we'll have time available for you to ask questions from us. So.
Hello, hope you're having a great summer. I wanted to talk a little bit about the early interviewing program, which is going to take place, as Marilee said, the first week of August. We've got two different sessions. The first session is August 4th and 5th, and that takes place in the cities of Washington, D.C., Houston, the Northern California area, and Phoenix. Then we have a second session that takes place on August 7th and 8th. That's a Thursday and Friday, and that takes place in New York City, Dallas, Southern California area, and Las Vegas. The way this works is that you can apply to any of the markets in Session 1 or any of the markets in Session 2, or you could apply to Sessions 2 offices in the Session 1 or the Session 2. I know that sounds a little bit confusing. This is to maximize your efforts if you're interested in different geographical locations. We have great employers and great alum who advocate for us and for our students to come to their area. This is a collect where we will collect the application materials that those firms have requested, and then we will send them to them directly for them to pre-screen. They may ask for a cover letter, resume, writing sample, a transcript. There may be other criteria that they're requesting. It may say top 30%, may want you involved in a moot court or a law review, but that will all be listed in Symplicity under that particular firm. The deadline for you to apply is Monday, July 7th at 8:00 a.m. in Symplicity. And you can find these firms in Symplicity and find out who's participating by logging in. Sure, Marilee's going to do this along with us. So we can log in as yourself. You'd go to the tab that says OCI Collects Early Interviewing and Externships and click into that. And then down in the search filter below, you can go in and look for whichever session you're interested in. So there's, I just put someone in today in the 2014 New York Early Interviewing Program. So if we take a look at that, you'll be able to scroll down and see all the firms that are looking for, and I'm not sure how this is set right now, but it'll be particular to your class. So 2L, 3L, or 2L and 3L. If you can't see a firm, but you've heard from a classmate that they are participating, it may be because they're only looking at 2Ls and maybe you're a 3L. You can go in and review to find out what application materials that they are requesting. So you can click on the review button or on that little eye, and you can go in and see what they're asking for. So resume, cover letter, transcript. So these are all things that you need to upload specific to that firm. So if you're doing a cover letter, please make sure that you double check and make sure that you are indeed uploading the correct cover letter to Cravath and Swain. You'd hate for it to be going to Linklaters instead. You also have to put in a bid number in order for your application to upload and for you to apply. The bid number does not matter when it comes to these early interviewing firms. So you also have to have in a resume in order to bid or upload anything. So if you're not being able to bid or upload, it may be because you don't have a resume in there to upload. So once you have that resume, you can assign a bid number and you can select apply. Now, If you're looking at this screen of Marilee's right now, she hasn't uploaded a cover letter or a transcript because we don't have one in there for that. That being said, whatever the firm is asking for, you should apply with all of those things. Don't just upload your resume. This is a sign to the firm that you can't follow directions, and it almost just kicks you out automatically. I've had lots of students that have applied for things with just their resume, and the firm calls and says, why didn't we get the other materials? And then I have to tell them, frankly, the student didn't upload it. And they said, well, that's an easy decision for us then on what to do with this student. So you can go in. If we'll have Marilee go back to the other screen, the select screen. Go back to where all the choices are. We're going to go back to, well, we think we're going back. Go back one more. Okay. No.
Sorry.
Okay, so you'll have the choice where you can go in and select either a Northern California, a Southern California, a Houston, a Dallas, a Phoenix, any of those sessions, and you can find out who's participating. I have been on vacation for a week, but since I've been gone, I've been contacted by I think a couple firms in California, and then the one in New York that I put in this morning, which was Linklaters. So there are some good firms that are still being added in there, so check back often. I would go to the firm, look at the web, look at their website, see what they do. You can query it and see what alum we have there, and also make a connection up with those alum. Let them know that you're interested in applying. So again, you can apply to one geographical location in session 1 and one geographical session in session 2, or you can do 2 cities in session 1 or 2 sessions in session 2. I don't know if that came out right. It's a great way for you to make connections, go to these areas that are interested in having our students, and to make connections there for you. In submitting your applications, once you make a commitment, once you apply and you get an interview, you are committed to going to that interview. So think long and hard about whether you want to apply to this. We will hold your feet to the fire. We are putting BYU Law's reputation on the line, saying that our students will come there, and this is the hook. This is how we get them to participate, is saying that our students will go to them directly. So they're not having to pay anything out for you. They'll treat this as they could treat it as a screening interview, which is a 20-30-minute interview, or they may treat it as a callback. It just depends on them. My advice to you is once you get that one interview, then I would start calling around, even to the firms that you've applied to that maybe you've gotten turned down on, or that you still have an interest in, and then let them know. Say, I'm going to be in town. I'm interviewing with Linklaters on August 7th, and I'd love to come by and meet with you, and they'll most likely say, we'd love to hear from you, and I would name drop. They love hearing that. If you apply and you get interviews and you choose not to keep that commitment, then there's a loss of CSO privileges, which you're welcome to come and talk to me about, but this is BYU's reputation on the line that we will have our students come directly there. There is a question. You can do the same session in 2 different cities. So you can do, I don't have the sessions up in front of me right now, but you can do 2 different cities in the same session. Like you could do Washington, D.C., and then use that Wednesday as a fly day and go down to Houston. Or you could do New York City and Dallas. So you can do 2 cities in the same session, or if you're just interested in one city and one session, that's fine. Washington, D.C., I think is the 4th and 5th. You could go there. Those interviews could take place on either of those days. So you don't have to go to 2 cities. You don't have to go to 2 sessions if you're just interested in one city. I'm going to turn the time over to Marilee.
All right, so quickly let's go over on-campus interviewing and resume collects. The deadlines to apply for these things will be Monday, July 28th at 8 a.m. On-campus interviews will begin August 18th, which is 1 week before school starts. So that's something that you'll need to take into account when you're looking at applying for employers. If you're not able to be there and you're selected for an interview, then you'll have to work out those arrangements with the interview, but you still need, or with the employer, but you'll still need to count on interviewing with that firm. I had several students last year who scheduled on-campus interviews and they weren't even here. They were out of state, they were out of the country. We can't do that. If you say, I want to apply for a firm or an employer, you can see on the schedule when they're planning on being here. If you know you're not going to be able to be available for on-campus interviews, then why don't you just apply directly to the firm and then you can work out those arrangements. But where possible, we want you here on campus interviewing with the employers here for on-campus interviews. Resume collects will gather your application materials and send them to the employer. Most of those are out of state. They'll take a look at it, and if they want to interview you, they will contact you directly to make those arrangements. One thing that we can offer to these employers, and you can do this as well, is you can schedule video interviews. If they or you have a tight timeline and you're not able to travel out there, that's something that you can set up and arrange with them. We can do that here at the school, and we have high-quality video interview cameras and things, and so it won't be a problem. You don't need to wait to apply until you hear back from law review or anything like that. You can go ahead and apply for on-campus interviewing. If you're here doing law review, you'll be able to sneak out for a few minutes to attend an interview, so that should not be a problem. So go ahead and apply to all the firms and the employers that you want to interview with. Don't apply to everybody. Make sure you're doing your research and applying to people you truly want to work for. Okay, other things that I wanted to just mention to you is our sessions in Symplicity are not yet complete. We are still adding employers every day. Employers kind of function like law students sometimes. They do things at the last minute. And so often we're adding people right up until the last minute for on-campus interviews. I will keep you informed through your email as that happens. If we pass the deadline for applications for OCIs and collects and employers add past that, I will email you and let you know so that we can still make sure that you're getting your application materials into them in a timely manner. So that won't be a problem. Typical documents that you'll need to apply with are an updated resume. Make sure your resume is current, that it has all of your summer activities on it. Please be sure and include your GPA if it's a 3.0 or greater. If it is lower than that, that's okay to leave it off. If you choose not to put your GPA on your resume, employers will just assume that it's lower than a 3.0. So if it is a 3.0 or greater, you'll want to go ahead and include it. Make sure you don't have any typos at all on your resume, and that includes things like spacing, formatting, capitalization, periods or not periods at the end of statements, whatever you've decided to do. We've had employers not interview students merely because they saw a typo or two in their materials. So we don't want that to be you. So make sure you take a close look with fresh eyes, print it out, leave it, come back to it, look at it later to make sure you don't have any typos before you start applying. This is another reason why I would recommend that you do not apply at the last minute, that you give yourself enough time to think about what you're applying with and to whom, and so that you make sure you get the right things to the right people. They'll typically ask for cover letters. All the employers will not ask for a cover letter, but if they do, it will be available to you in the Symplicity application area, and I can show that to you again. Be sure and customize your cover letters. They need to be personalized to the firm. Make sure that you have the right person's name associated with the right firm on your letter. We've had students make that mistake every semester where they get the wrong recruiter's name with the wrong firm, or they send the wrong letter to the wrong person. And that is an automatic, dump in the trash. They won't even look at you if you make a mistake like that. So be careful as you're going along. Be careful about typos with cover letters as well. Don't write them at midnight the night before it's due. Your transcript and your law school progress report, generally speaking, if an employer wants a transcript from you, it's just your law school progress report. It's not an official transcript from the university. You can access your law school progress report by looking at this address here below. If you just go to the law school's website and go to the current students tab and then student records, you can download your law progress report, save it to your computer, and then upload it into Symplicity as a document. And then it will be available for you to apply with. Writing samples. Sometimes employers will request a writing sample. It should be 5 to 7 pages of your best legal writing. Do not give them your whole memo or brief. It's too much. So 5 to 7 pages. Excerpts are okay. Give them the meatiest part of your document, whatever it is, that showcases your best legal writing. If it's in the middle of something, that's fine. Just put a cover sheet on the front that shows some context of what it is they'll be seeing. Give a short description of what it is. Okay. Other documents that are sometimes requested, sometimes, especially if it's IP that you're applying for, they will want an undergraduate transcript. Now, you can either request an official transcript from the university, which will A, cost you money, and B, will be too big to upload into Symplicity, or you can go through mybyu.edu to school and then through AIM. You can download your student academic record and your progress report from the university. So it's not an official, like, sealed transcript, but generally it has all the information that employers will need. And so it's simpler, it's less graphic heavy, and it uploads into Symplicity just fine without having problems. So I would recommend that you do that if you need an official transcript. Sometimes employers will ask for references during the application process. If they do that, they will indicate that under other documents requested. You can include those as a separate sheet. You'll want to have at least one law professor and one employer on there. Make sure you give the person's name, their title, and contact information for each one. A lot of times employers will not ask for that until you get to the callback stage of the interviews, but sometimes they ask for it up front. So just be paying attention to all the documents that are requested and include everything that the employer asks for. Don't just put in a resume thinking you'll get back to it later. Make sure you include everything as you're applying. Okay, so just a quick review of Symplicity for those of you who are less familiar with it. The first thing that you need to have in Symplicity in order to be able to do anything is a resume uploaded in the documents. Once you have that there, you're able to look at the employers a little bit easier and see what documents you need. What I would recommend that you do is the documents that will not change, like your resume, your progress report, and your writing sample, just upload those 3 documents right away. And then if you need a cover letter for an employer, you can go back in and add that for each employer. But if you have the basic things in there, then it will be very easy and very fast for you to apply to employers. You'll next want to review the employers in each session that you want to apply to. In this case, it will be the 2014 Fall OCI and Resume Collect session is where these employers are found. Then you can upload your documents that are needed by looking at each firm. So just quickly, I'll show this to you here, and then I'll show you over in the Symplicity screen as well. When you upload your documents, make sure you give each one a distinct name, especially your cover letters, so that you can clearly identify which cover letter goes with which firm. Don't use initials, don't use something cryptic. Make sure it's clear so that you have like Christensen and Jensen cover letter, or Snow, Christensen, and Martineau cover letter, so you don't get those two confused, things like that. There's a limit on 10 documents that you can upload into Symplicity, so you want to keep your resume, transcript, writing sample in there all the time, and then you still have 7 slots for cover letters. Once you apply to a firm or to an employer, you can go back and delete out that cover letter out of there, out of your document queue if you run out of space. So it attaches a copy of those documents to the employer, and you're free to delete things after you apply, and it won't be a problem. As Karen mentioned, be sure you give them all the requested documents. If you don't, that's a red flag to the employer that you don't follow directions well, and they will not consider you. You can upload and edit your documents that you've applied with until the deadline happens. The deadline again was July the 28th at 8 a.m. So if you realize going back looking at an application that you made a mistake in a cover letter, If it's before the deadline, you can go in there and change out your cover letter without a problem, because I won't send them to the employers until July 28th, and the employers cannot get in and look at your stuff until July 28th either. Okay. If you need some very detailed instructions about Symplicity, you're welcome to call me or email me, and I can set up a call with you. Or you can go to, on our website, we have a place under the Career Services resources for you on the law school's homepage. That's a very detailed handout. And I can send that out to everyone again as well via email. So if something should come up when you're in the application process, either for the early interviewing program or for OCIs or collects or just general Symplicity questions, you can contact either Karen or I. Just keep in mind, we don't work nights, and we're not checking our email at midnight. So, and just keep an eye on your deadline so you don't wait until the very last second for that. Okay? Do you guys have any questions for us?
I know that we do have a question that was, should we wait to apply until after we hear back from law review and the journals? And I would say
no. No. Go ahead and apply. You need to go ahead and apply to the employers while they're here. If you're interviewing with or interested in interviewing with employers that'll be here the first week, that week of the 18th through whatever it is, the 25th, I think, that week before school starts, go ahead and apply. And I think that we can work out a time where you'll be able to interview with that employer and get to your law review commitments without a problem. So don't worry about that.
And I do think that they generally let you know whether you've made it onto law review or any of the journals beforehand. So you can always send in an updated resume to the firm that you've applied to, or let them know that you've been accepted onto law review or one of the moot courts, something like that. But I agree with Marilee. Go ahead and apply, and then you can always fix that resume and update it with something like that. And I want to go back to our sessions. Marilee, if you'll take it up to the sessions for the early interviewing period. On over here. So when we talked about, what do you want? Go up to the slide 3 maybe. Okay, there we've got our cities, we've got our markets. I want to clarify on this. You can only apply to one city in one session. You can go to 2 sessions if you want to, but again, you can only apply to one city in one session. So Washington and New York, Houston, Dallas, Phoenix, Las Vegas, Northern, Southern California. You can only apply to one city or one market in each session. But you don't have to apply to 2. You can just go to 1 if you want to. So I just wanted to clarify that. I think I was a little bit fuzzy on it, talking about it earlier. There's a question that says, for early interviewing, what do we do if the dates are the same week as our last week of our externship? I would... If you're committed to that externship dates and there's no way that you can wiggle out a little bit because you've got to finish at those hours and you're really stuck on finishing up that externship, then I would have you apply to the law firm directly that you're interested in, because when you apply through our Collect, we're saying that you're available on any of those days during that first week of August for you to be there. You're welcome to apply to them directly and let them know that you're finishing up an externship, a law experience, and that you are not available that first week, but that you're available, and then give them your dates of your availability. But again, don't apply through our Collect, but just apply to the firm directly. Are there any other questions? We are happy that you joined us today. This was a first for us, which Marilee was excellent.
If there are no other questions right now, what I'll do is I'll just walk through Symplicity quickly to just show you how to apply for something if you're interested in doing that. You don't have to stay on the call if you're not interested, but I'm going to take a few minutes and just do that to show people who are less familiar. And we'll go ahead and continue to answer questions as they come up as well. So, follow-up question while you're. I'm going to go ahead and answer that one.
There's a question that says, is the best thing to do is to talk to the firm and see that they would allow us the time off to fly out for early interviewing? Or is the best thing to do talk to the firm and see if they would allow us the time off to fly out for early interviewing? I think you know your firm and who you've been working with, so I think I would tell you to maybe finish up your experience and the commitment that you've had so that you leave that in good standing of where you've been, and then I would just apply to the firm directly. If they've counted on you and you've committed to being there for that time period, then I would tell you to fill that out so that you leave in good graces, leaving your name good and with BYU Law's name good. I've had students who have left abruptly, and it's kind of jolted the employer because they thought that they would have that student there working for the remainder of the time period, and they didn't end up having that. So I would keep your commitment to what they've given them and then apply directly.
Okay, so quickly we'll just go through how you would go about applying to an employer if you're not familiar with this process. As I mentioned, the first thing that you're going to need to do is make sure you have documents uploaded into your queue here. So if you'll log into Symplicity and go to Documents, underneath here you'll go down to this button that says Add New. This is the place where you can upload whatever document you're interested in doing so. You're going to give it a name, something that's distinct and easy to locate later. So if I'm applying to Snow Christensen and Martineau, for example, I'll give it a good name like that, and I want to make sure that I pick the correct category. You need to do this so that the documents are in the right place when you go to apply, and so that they're available to you. Once you select your document type, then you can come down here and choose the file from your computer and upload it. So that's the process that you would go through. If you're uploading a resume, make sure you upload it under Resume, Transcript or Student Progress Report, Writing Sample, etc. And if it's another document that's outside of these general categories, let's say they want references or they want an undergraduate transcript, then you would categorize those documents as an other document, and that would be available to you when you go to apply. Okay, so that's the basic thing, is you need to get your documents in there first before you can apply. And then once you're ready to apply, you have your documents together, you can go over here to the On-Campus OCI Collects tab, scroll down and choose the correct session. The session that we'll need for OCIs and Resume Collects is this one that's called 2014 Fall OCI and Resume Collects session. I have it set to show all the employers. The employers that will display are only the employers that are seeking applicants from your class. So if you are talking to friends that are in a different class than you, that are a 2L or a 3L, and say, oh, well, my friend who's a 2L said that, you know, Crowley Fleck was interviewing for just 2Ls, or they're going to be here on campus. Maybe they're only interviewing just that class, and maybe you can't see it in Symplicity because they're not looking for you. So my test student in here is a 3L right now. So there's 16 employers in here that are open to 3Ls to apply. If you're a 2L, you'll be able to see all of the employers listed that are seeking applications from 2Ls. Both Resume Collects and on-campus interviews are in here together so that you can see kind of a comprehensive list of all the employers that are looking for students and recruiting this fall. So here's the name. For example, here's Ada County Prosecuting Attorney's Office. They're in Boise, Idaho. They're going to be here on campus August 26th. Okay. This firm down here, Cole Schatz, Meisel, Foreman, and Leonard out of New Jersey won't be here. They're just doing a Resume Collect. So that's how you can tell if it's a Resume Collect or it's if they're here on campus. This one is a little bit different. This firm, Harder Seacrest and Emery out of Rochester, New York, they want you to apply directly to them rather than going through Symplicity. And the way that you know that, it says it's a direct send. So if I click on them to find out more information, it will tell you how to apply. Okay? It will say here, this is who we're seeking. For more information, visit us here at our website. So they want you to go to their website to apply. Okay? So if you have any questions about any of these employers, you are welcome to ask either Karen or I. If it's early interviewing specific questions, you can talk to Karen. Anything OCIs, resume collects, or Symplicity, troubleshooting problems, whatever, then you can call me.
And I just want to throw something in there. Do your research on these firms. Please don't be applying to firms that are asking for hard science, IP-minded students when you don't have any of those qualifications. It's a waste of your time and it's a waste of their time. So make sure you know exactly who you're applying to and what for. I would check their practice areas, and if you say in your cover letter that you're passionate about their real estate practice group, make sure that they actually have one. That's a mistake that our students have made in the past also.
For example, on this Kenobi Martins Olson and Bear firm, if I was just to look at it on the last list, the overview list with everybody on it, I might not know that they're an IP firm. And I might just go ahead and apply without paying that much attention. You know, you need to look at each employer you're interested in applying to and see the details for them. This one in particular, it says they're an IP firm. They want a technical degree required. Some of them will say preferred though. So if it's IP and you're interested in doing trademark or copyright and you don't have a technical background, sometimes they're still open to students with alternate backgrounds. So make sure you read those descriptions of the background information, because it will tell you what they're looking for specifically. And if you fit the criteria for that firm, then you can go ahead and apply. As Karen mentioned, you have to have a bid number listed here. That is the trigger in Symplicity to actually make your application available to the employer. The firms never see this number. It's only for internal use. Sometimes a firm will come to me and say, tell me all the students who applied to us that listed us in their top 5 choices. Well, if you rank them in order of your preference, I can go back and look and see, oh yes, this student listed Kenobi Martins in their top 5 preferences, and I'll pass it along to the employer. They will never know the number you actually rank them, so you don't have to worry about them seeing that, but you need a number here in order for the application to work, okay?
But I want to clarify on that for 1 second. For OCIs, it does matter on your bid number. But for the early interviewing programs, it doesn't matter on the bid number. It doesn't matter what number you give them. But Marilee could have someone through the OCI say, you know, was I a preferred bid, you know, with this student? And she would let them know, but she would never let them know the number.
Yeah. So that happens most often with on-campus interview employers. Once in a while, a collect employer will do it, but not very often. Early interviewing falls into those collect employers, meaning they're not actually here on campus. Okay, right. So anyway, so that's a basic overview of how you would go about applying to either the early interviewing employers or to on-campus or resume collect employers. Does anybody have any other questions that we have not yet covered? Okay. It looks like we don't. If you think of something later, don't hesitate to contact either Karen or I. You can email us or call us, and we'd be happy to hear from you. So we hope you're having a fantastic summer, and we look forward to seeing you back at school again in August. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.